Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me, and today I'm going to find out exactly what happens if I make something that is completely different to my normal thing. This is NovoNappa. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know that I am absolutely in love with this leather. I love how soft it is, I love how smooth it is, I love how it patinas. It's beautiful, especially if you like that aged look. However, it is not my normal project. This is a pattern that I've made before. That's not the abnormal part. The abnormal part is how I'm going to make it. So I like things that are quite structured. I like things that are quite stiff and they have body to them. They have a rigidity to them, which I normally use something like a bonded leather or a Veladon or even leather split by itself. Something I use very commonly to give the leather a bit more rigidity. But when my brother tells me that for his birthday, which is coming up very soon, he would like a new wallet and he absolutely hates stiff leather, I have to go back to my roots a little bit, if you like. So he tells me that he needs a new wallet. He wants it to be the dimensions that I'm making here now, because you can modify a pattern. That's one of the great things about a pattern. But he absolutely does not want it to be rigid. He wants it to last for years and years and years, which is something that I pride myself on with my work anyway. But he doesn't want it to have any structure to it. So I kind of think to myself, alright, how do I do this? How do I make it so that it doesn't have any structure, but also make sure it lasts? And I don't like using very thick leather. This is 1.5, I think. I've already had it split down. It comes from the tannery at about 2.2 if memory serves. It's tannery hat if you're interested. But I wanted to make sure that it was as soft but also as long lasting as I could. So I'm splitting down part of the pocket because I want to keep most of the body of the leather there. The problem with when you have very thin leather, you don't actually have full grain leather anymore. The grain refers to the amount of leather that is there. So if you go for something that's like 0.6 mil, it's not full grain anymore. It's just not. But I wanted to keep it full grain, so the majority of this wallet is a full grain wallet. When we talk about fine leather goods and you split something to very thin, you then build it back up with bonded leather and it's not full grain anymore. But if you're making something that you want to be full grain, which this is, and it's very unlike me to use something with this much body to it, you keep the characteristics of that leather. So if you go for the bonded leather route, you'll have something that is stiff but will have the characteristics of, say, aging nicely, for instance, which this will. If you go for something that is down the other path and you don't use bonded leather, you use full grain leather, you don't get that bonded characteristic plus the rigidity. You rely on the leather itself, which is very different to what I normally do. So that begs the question of what I'm going to do differently for the rest of it. So obviously I'm doing a folded edge because, let's face it, folded edges look better than painted edges in certain circumstances. I think they also last longer, but don't quote me on that. I haven't done any research to back that up. But I do like a good folded edge. And the fact that you can get a beautiful crease with it really does help. For the rest of it, you just saw me cut the panel. That was the back panel. That was the part that I cut 10 mil longer than the pattern itself. By the way, if you're interested in this pattern, let me know in the comment section below. I will add it to my website, which is currently down, but it will be up when this goes live, I think. And whilst we're on the subject of support, if you could please like, comment and subscribe. that would be phenomenal. So especially subscribing, that helps the channel grow enormously, and I know that a lot of you are not subscribed, so press that bell button as well. But typically with most of my wallets, what I will do is in the back, between the back panel and the back panel lining, I will completely bond it, I will laminate it to the actual back panel to give it that structure, to give it that rigidity, to give it that longevity. With this, I'm not doing that. This is just going to be raw dog leather. There is nothing else in this aside from a bit of glue and a bit of stitching. Between the back panel and the lining, that is it. But also, one of the characteristics of laminating leather, one of the properties you get from laminating leather, two pieces of leather together, is a much stiffer piece of leather at the end of it. However, if you glue just 10mm or 5mm, whatever it is you want, around the edges of that, and you will see me do this in a moment, you get such a soft result, but a beautiful result, because you're still lining it with something, in this case leather. You're still lining the piece, but on top of lining it, you're keeping the repairability. And something that I'm trying to put into my work more and more is the repairability, because that's one of the great things about luxury leather goods, is how repairable they are. For instance, this wallet, if you took it apart, you could repair the entire thing. With some, you can't. If you glue everything to within an inch of its life, the probability is you'll ruin it when it comes to actually trying to repair the thing, which is not great, let's be honest. And if I was to line this back piece, it would also make it even thicker, because one of the things my brother asked me to do is to keep it soft but as thin as I could, without it being like taking too much leather away. He wanted a leather wallet, and if you take a lot of leather away, are you really left with a leather wallet? That is a debatable ethical question for another day, which I'm not getting into because I'm too tired to get into that debate. However, this is a leather wallet made with one of the best and most beautiful leathers on earth, in my opinion. And if you disagree with that, let me know in the comment section below, but I don't think it's possible to. Yes, it's not perfect for everything. One of the great things about leather work, one thing, you learn how to work with it to the point where if you want to make something softer, you can. But the other thing is, if you know it well enough, you know when to use specific leathers. So I would use this for a lot of things, but I would also not use it for a lot of things. If I wanted something that I can throw into and out of a bag forever and never have a mark on it, I would not choose NovoNappa. In fact, I would not choose Nappa in the first place unless I knew that it was going to get aged. This will age. However, if I wanted something, and I've got a project coming up shortly, so don't forget to subscribe, but I have a project coming up shortly, that the bag itself, I do not want it to show much age. Most leathers will age to a point, they'll break in, they'll get softer, they'll get looser. Regardless of if you reinforce it, it will still get softer and looser. What I didn't show you, because I'm not set up to shoot my poke my camera at my skiving machine, is I wanted to get a bit of the thickness off this panel. This is the panel that the card modules sit on, that they are stitched to, and that is the piece of NovoNappa I split down that I forgot to record. So I think you just saw it, but you'll see, there you go. So I forgot to record this on my camera, so I recorded it on my phone, and I'm sorry. That is a Druckle splitter before I get asked, and I love it. However, I wanted to keep this soft. Soft is the name of the game for this. Most men don't want to keep it soft, but we'll move on from that. I needed to keep this soft, so I glued it on a curve because I like to keep as few creases out of my piece as I can. Creases are for the owner to put in. Creases are for age to be shown. But like I was saying, I have a piece coming up shortly that I don't want it to look aged in 5 years. I want to be able to throw the thing that I'm throwing into it in 5 years, in 10 years, and it be a little bit broken in for sure because it's leather, but I want it to last a long time. NovoNappa will last a long time, but you will see the age on it. So if you have a handbag with NovoNappa, expect for it to look aged in a few months, let alone a few years. It's a nappa. Nappa is very, very commonly used in car interiors. It's used in it's used as an upholstery leather, not this one specifically as far as I'm aware, but nappa, the type of leather that is a nappa, NovoNappa, it's kind of in the name, is a very, very soft leather. NovoNappa, I believe, is retanned, so it's chrome and then veg, but don't quote me on that. I think that's what it is. I would need to look it up, but I can't be bothered right now. And this is another instance where you don't need the leather in that place, where it's being stitched between the layers that you are literally never going to see. You don't need the leather there. It doesn't add anything. This is just after I broke my 5 tooth, I think it is, or this is just before I broke my 5 tooth. The most annoying thing I've done in months. I dropped my 5 tooth pricking iron onto the solid tile floor. I'm quite annoyed about it still, weeks later, because believe it or not, this was not filmed yesterday. But I'm still annoyed about that. The thread I'm using for this, because I know I'll get asked about that as well. It's Xiang, and I can't remember the thickness. I think it's 0.45. I think might be either 0.45 or 0.55, but it's quite a special thread because it looks linen, it looks natural. However, it's not. It's polyester, which means you can melt the end, making it a much cleaner finish if you don't know how to finish linen thread, which obviously I do. But it's also the only one I had in stock that was the right colour, and I couldn't be asked to order another one if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Now you might be wondering, that edge doesn't look quite normal. What are you doing to it before you put paint on it? I used Uniter's filler. So it's designed by Uniters. It's designed for use on with their product, so you know that it's very good quality. God, doesn't that just look beautiful? Sorry, I love how that leather looks. But anyway, so before you put the paint on, because if you're not getting your edge perfectly flat every single time, which most of us aren't, let's be honest, that's why we sand it 700 times between layers, because it's not perfectly flat. You'd need a belt sander to get that thing flat, because you need a flat surface to push it against. Hand sanding never gets anything flat the first time, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, I'll stop rambling about that. The filler is brilliant because it's not just like another product designed to be another product that you found that you're using with leather. It's a product that is designed to be used with leather and specifically with Uniters, and it fills the edge and gets it ready for paint. Otherwise you're using a million litres of paint for something that you just don't need to, and paint's expensive, let's be honest. So this was a nightmare. I like to poke my holes in from both sides because I think it looks nicer. You get a really nice stitch at the end of it. But lining this up was not easy because obviously you're lining it up for the interior and you're lining it up for the exterior, and you need those stitch holes to be perfect, absolutely perfect. Otherwise you get a wrinkly, ripply, wavy edge, which no one wants it wrinkly, let's be honest. So that took probably, oh god, I don't know, 20 minutes just to line up those bloody holes so I knew it would be straight. Because if you drop one hole, you are screwed. And remember, less glue is more. I see so many, one of the biggest mistakes I see beginners make, and you know who you are, is absolutely lathering everything in glue. There's no need. Let leather be leather. Use glue to hold the stitch line together and to hold the edge together. So the maximum glue width you need, unless you're laminating, if you're not laminating and you're just using it for the edge, the maximum you need, the absolute maximum, is 10 mil. You don't even need that. You can get away with 5 mil as long as it's covering the edge where you're going to be filling or burnishing, and the actual stitch line to hold that together whilst you stitch it. Stop it. It's really bloody irritating. It's one of my pet peeves, is seeing people covering things in glue that don't need to be covered in glue. Now, you don't actually have to wax this thread. It's not necessary. This is a polyester thread. It looks like linen, yes, but it's polyester. So technically speaking, the entire point of waxing thread is to make it waterproof. That's where waxing came from. However, and therefore you don't have to wax polyester thread. I like waxed thread. I think it adds a little bit to the holes that the thread's going through. I think it helps seal that shut, and after years of use, that wax will absorb into the stitching holes. It will, because the body heat will just help it absorb into the stitching holes and therefore seal those up. But you don't have to do it. I do it for a number of reasons. One, for that, and two, because I like the feel. I've been using wax thread for years and years and years, so I like the feel of it. So for me, stitching without waxing my thread just feels a bit bizarre, I'll be honest. Don't forget to tap your stitches. It makes so much difference to how it looks. Now this, I did seal this edge with the filler. I didn't show it because this video would have been 3.5 years long and no one wants to watch that. I am, however, showing the painting process because the first coat of paint, don't worry about it. Put it on. It doesn't need to look pretty, but put it on because it needs to help seal that edge. And then we're going to wait for probably half an hour for that paint to get really, really dry. And we're going to go over it with a ridiculously hot iron. And the reason for that is it helps seal the pores shut within the leather, but more to the point, it helps smooth that paint out. And then I will spend 2 years sanding. And no, I'm not going to show you all of that because that would be insanely boring. And yeah, don't. But I'm going to leave you with a bit of a painting montage and to see the final result. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Have a phenomenal weekend and week. Take care.